So as you guys know, I've been out for the last week and a half, so I couldn't exactly review movies the way I usually do, early and on time. So this review is a little late, so I apologize in advance if you guys were waiting for this review or anticipating this review a couple of weeks ago or a week and a half ago to be precise. But now that I'm back, I'm going to review this movie for you guys because it's okay if there's a bit of a time delay every now and then. As long as you get a good review and as long as I give you a concise one, we can do a good job of this, so here we go. Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets is directed by Luc Besson, who has sometimes directed excellent films like Leon the Professional, one of my favorite movies, and Lucy. Valerian is about Valerian, played by Dane DeHaan, who is an agent working in the military division of the city of Alpha, which is the city of 1,000 planets. This has been a city that has thrived for thousands of years, and there has been peace and harmony established amongst hundreds of species that inhabit it. However, when a mysterious force seems to be lurking amongst this city and causing some trouble, Valerian and his partner in crime, Laureline, played by Cara Delevingne, decide to investigate it and try to figure out what's going on as things start to come to a head between them and between peace, which has been already established. Something about Luc Besson's movies that I love in general are its visual style and spectacle, and this movie has all of that. In fact, I would say that this is one of his best visual movies. It's a beautiful looking film and very visually interesting. I have not quite seen this done in the way it has been done here. There are certain things they do here with the visual effects that I found very interesting, and the way they were handled, some of the weaponry, for instance, in particular, I think that they've handled it in a really fascinating manner. And I really like some of the imaginative action sequences that are there on display at times. I also really like the score for this film. I thought Alexandre Desplat did a great job. The music is very adventurous and fun, and I really like that, which is another thing I'll say about this movie. It's a ton of fun. In this film, there's a lot of excitement to be had at points. Sometimes it does get a little dulled down. We'll talk more about that later. But this film does definitely have a very fun vibe to it, that as you're watching it, you are constantly entertained despite the fact that it has its shortcomings. And I also thought that the technicals, and honestly from every technical standpoint, I thought this film was really good. This film, however, suffers on one thing that I wanted more of, despite the fact that the trailers were more visual spectacle than anything else. Substance. Valerian and the City of 1,000 Planets is a beautiful looking film. It has a lot of great effects, and the visual spectacle cannot be denied, but its storytelling and its script are pretty weak, and they are not as strong as I want it to be, or as strong as the movie wishes it to be. For instance, Valerian and Laureline have this partner in crime relationship, and a lot of this film relies on them having this chemistry, this connection between each other. And for the longest time in this movie, you don't feel that. It's very lackluster. There's a lot of on and off between them, and the performances at times are very wooden. And Dane DeHaan is an actor I usually like. I've liked him in movies like The Amazing Spider-Man 2, even if that movie was not very good. I've liked him in Chronicle. I loved him in A Cure for Wellness that came out this year. I didn't review that, but it was a unique, interesting film. And in this film, he is not very good for the first half. He's very Keanu Reeves-ish, and he has that impression going on for a while. I don't know if that's his actual voice or is that an impression he was doing, but it definitely seemed like that. The second half, of course, he got a lot better, but that first half was a very iffy performance. Same thing can be said for Cara Delevingne. For the first half, she's pretty wooden and she's not very interesting. She has very emotionless responses to amazing things that are happening. At one point in time, she has this creature and it does something and she just says, "Wow." Exactly the way I just said it. In the second half, she gets a lot more expressive and a lot more excitable and a lot more fun, but it's really the second half where all of these actors really do a good job. It doesn't take until then for the acting to get a lot better. The other thing about this film that felt off to me was the tone. There are scenes which will be very intense, very dark, and very sinister. Things where everything is going wrong for the characters or the supporting characters. And there's a point where Valerian and Laureline have to do something really crazy and really important. And then it'll be followed by something which is funny and or lighthearted or completely off from what was just going on earlier. There's a scene where Valerian and Laureline are trying to get out of this messy situation. The very next scene is Rihanna in a strip club, which, great scene, very interesting. Not seen a stripper routine like that before. That raises a lot of questions, I understand that. But it's a really interesting scene. Visually, I have not quite seen that kind of a thing before, so I have to give props to the originality over there. She was fine in this movie. And even the storytelling felt very lackluster. It's not generic movie 101, but for a while it is generic movie 101. There's a lot of generic moments in this. Things where you can tell very early on how it's gonna happen, what's gonna happen, where it's gonna go, and what's gonna happen to certain characters. And it was very predictable at a point that my friend next to me, I was just saying, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and exactly 5 seconds later, the same thing happened. And that was very unexpected, and I didn't like the fact that I could see that coming from a mile away. It didn't bother me as much, though, as one other problem I had with the script, which is the humor. Because the film wants you to believe so much in Valerian and Laureline's relationship, there's a lot of jokes that go on between them, and between other members of the cast. And none of the jokes really landed. There's a lot of jokes that are made here and there, and there were a couple of chuckles, but that's about it. I'm not saying this is a bad movie, definitely not. It's a fun movie. You'll have a great time watching it if you are going in for that. But if you are going in looking for more substance and looking for more moments of deep thought, because this film tries that at a couple of points, then you're not going to find as much as you would expect to. And for me, that was a huge letdown. Nevertheless, I'm going to give Valerian and the City of 1,000 Planets a 6.5 out of 10. You guys are the best. Thank you so much as always for watching. I look forward to reviews a little late than usual because, like I said, I am in India. Movies do not release as early as the United States over here, so I'm going to have to wait a little bit. So, for example, the Dark Tower review, you're not going to see that probably for about 2 weeks. I'm sorry about that. You guys are the best. Thank you so much as always for watching. If you like this, please subscribe, and I will see you guys later.